Incognito Browsing is still being tracked. Media.JWALA. A brief introduction to the article. Whether you're using a VPN or a cloaking browser, your online activity is still being tracked. While it's true that your browsing habits are hidden from the eyes of the companies that you're paying for your internet service with, your IP address is still being logged and sold to third-party advertisers. This post will teach you how to protect yourself from the data tracking that's taking place on the internet. We'll discuss the different types of tracking that are taking place, how to protect yourself from them, and how to remove the data tracking ads from your web browser. By the end of this post, you'll know how to make sure that your online activity is completely private and incognito. 1. What is incognito browsing? Incognito browsing is the act of browsing the internet without your true identity or interests being known to the websites you are visiting. Most web browsers allow you to browse the internet in incognito mode, but this does not mean that your browsing habits are not being tracked. In fact, many websites track your browsing habits even when you are in incognito mode, in order to understand your interests and to create targeted ads. 2. Is incognito browsing still being tracked? Yes, even when you're browsing in incognito mode, your browsing habits are still being tracked. This information is collected and stored by the sites you visit, and it's often shared with third-party advertisers. Many people believe that, by using incognito mode, they're shielding their browsing habits from the websites they visit. However, this isn't always the case. Many websites track your browsing habits even when you're browsing in incognito mode, and this information is often shared with third-party advertisers. 3. How incognito browsing works. If you're like most people, you use the internet anonymously to browse the web without being tracked. Unfortunately, even when you're incognito, your activity is still being monitored and recorded. There are a few ways this happens. For example, your browser may still send cookies to the websites you visit, even when you're browsing in incognito mode. Cookies are small files that are stored on your computer, and they help us remember the pages you've visited. In addition, your browser may still transmit your IP address, which is the number that identifies your computer on the internet. This number is also sometimes used to track your online movements. 4. What to do if you're concerned about incognito browsing tracking. There are a few ways to protect your privacy when browsing the internet, but unfortunately, none of them are 100% effective. That said, here are a few tips to help you stay in the know about the kinds of tracking that is taking place. 1. Use a VPN. A virtual private network will help protect your identity by encrypting all of your traffic and routing it through an intermediary server. This will make it difficult for third-party trackers to determine your physical location, your browsing history, and more. 2. Use a private browser. Another way to protect your privacy is to use a private browser like Tor. Tor encrypts your traffic and routes it through a network of volunteer nodes, making it extremely difficult for anyone to track your movements online. 3. Use cookie blockers. Cookies are small files that are stored on your computer by websites that you visit. They contain information like the name of the website, the time, and the IP address of the computer that submitted the cookie. You can use cookie blockers to prevent websites from storing these cookies. 4. Use incognito browsing. Another way to protect your privacy is to use incognito browsing mode. This will hide all of your browsing history from the websites you visit. However, this means that you won't be able to track the websites that you've visited in incognito mode. 5. Conclusion. Even if you're using incognito browsing, your browsing habits are still being tracked. This is because the companies that track your browsing data sell it to third parties. This means that even if you're using a VPN, you're not really anonymous. Thank you for reading our blog post about how incognito browsing is still being tracked. We know that many people use incognito browsing to protect their privacy, but there are still ways that your browsing habits can be tracked. We have provided helpful tips in this article to help you protect your privacy while browsing the web. Be sure to read through the article and take the necessary steps to protect your privacy. Thank you again for reading, and we hope that you have a great day.